Welcome to Real Estate Exposed, helping people in San Diego buy, sell, and refinance their biggest investment, delivering you timely truths, exposing important issues, and helping you get into the right home. Here are your hosts, real estate expert Daniel Beer, top-ranked professional by sales volume at one of San Diego's largest brokerages, and his mortgage partner, Todd Pianin, with over $2 billion in funded loans.
We are 3 days away from the San Diego home selling workshops. They're coming up, but first, you ought to know you're on air right now with Dan Beer Home Team, Keller Williams, which, by the way, we were honored with the #1 producer award for all Southern California for Keller Williams, which is the largest company in all of North America. And so honored to receive that award, and we couldn't be more thrilled to have served so many families over the course of last year and doing it again, of course, now. I'm in studio with Todd Pianin, Home Street Bank, my co-host, and, of course, co-presenter at the San Diego Home Selling Workshops, where we're going to be seeing you. And, Todd, there's interest rate news that's shaking up the markets.
Lots of interest rate news shaking up the markets. I mean, Trump had a pretty powerful State of the Union in front of Congress. I mean, I think it was the first time he sounded actually presidential. I don't know if you agree with that or not, Dan, but I thought he did a really good job. But now there's all kinds of talk that the economy's, going crazy. I mean, we're now seeing, Dow is well over 21,000. We haven't seen that in a long time. Inflationary concerns are coming back into the market. So, I mean, there was probably like a 30 to 40% chance that Yellen was going to raise interest rates in March this month on the 15th. And now everyone's saying it's like a 60 or 70% because the economy is starting to heat up and the stock market's kind of pricing it in. So, I mean, I these low interest rates that we've been seeing are going to become a thing of the past. And I know a lot of my competitors out there who based their business around refinances have pretty much, they've gone into a stall. Basically, they're having, February was one of the worst months I think in a long time in the mortgage industry. A lot of companies are either merging, getting purchased, the refi shops are now chasing down realtors nonstop. So, I mean, rates are going to climb and continue to climb. So, I mean, I just think that it's going to happen this year. We're going to probably see these 3 rate hikes that we were promised last year, unless we get some very bad economic data, which all indications point to no, it isn't going to happen. Bad economic data. So, I think that we're going to see some higher, a lot of this is the year for the turn, Dan. This is the year that we're going to see interest rates start to tick their way up. So if you haven't refinanced or if you're thinking about purchasing, I would tell you that now you want to do it, strike now, because you're going to see rates probably creeping close to upper 4s, low 5% range by the end of the year, which will be a big game changer.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely a game changer, because if you're a buyer for a property, that means that you're going to be able to afford less home here very shortly. Sellers, your buyers, will be doing exactly what I just said. They'll be able to afford less home. That means it'll be harder for people to get into your property, and there will simply be a smaller buyer pool for your home. Now, sellers often lose track of what interest rates are doing. Buyers are watching it like a hawk, but sellers, interest rates affect you just as much, because you can't sell but to a buyer, right?
Can I give you a tip?
Mm-hmm.
So just like, we talk about the home selling seminars, which are coming up really quickly next week, one of the tricks that we used to do back in the day when we were in a higher moving interest rate environment was sellers would offer a 1 point credit to pay down the buyer's loan to get them into the property. So, so sellers, for example, to get a home sold, they basically will pay a point for the buyer, just like on new home sales. You ever drive by like those new home sales now offering, this lower interest rate for the product, right? Because the builder is actually, paying down to buy the interest rate lower to get more people into that property. So as a tool, as a tip to you, for those of you who are sellers out there, if your house is sitting and it's not moving, and rates start climbing, one of the things you can offer, and it's obviously less money out of you, it comes off it's a closing cost for you, but you can offer to pay down points for the buyer to buy down the interest rates. And we do that all the time.
There's so many things that you can do when you're working with somebody that has a professional process that they lean on and that they go to on a regular basis versus trying to test different techniques or tactics or tricks. There is a way for buyers, just like sellers are able to do, there's a way for buyers to actually implement a methodology that's been time tested. It's been through the ringer, so to speak, right? It's not a theory. It's not something that's being tried out, but rather an actual methodology that's resulted in hundreds of home sales successfully completed, families in the right home at the right time on their terms. And it's a methodology that's it's different than what most buyers experience, than what most buyers go through. But just like we talk so much about sellers and how they have to do away with the status quo, how they have to demand a better process, and we actually have the workshops, which, by the way, there's only 9 tickets left for. I just had my assistant ring in with that. 9 tickets
Only
left.
9 tickets left?
9 tickets left to this home selling workshop, which will be Wednesday, and we'll tell you how to get them here in a second. But in any event, you have to demand more, whether you're a buyer or a seller. And by more, I mean not just what the rest of the market's doing. You have to have a proven methodology that, in the case of our selling methodology as an example, has resulted in recognition by the Wall Street Journal among the top teams in the entire nation. It resulted in 188 homes sold last year, while the average agent in the county only sold 4, actually just under 4. And the results are there. It's a completely different process, but it's proven. And that's the key. It's the proof piece of it. And you should be able to feel comfortable asking your agent, or the agent the agents that you're interviewing, for proof of what they're saying. How many times have you done it? And I always say you have to make sure they've done it at least 50 times over the course of the last 12 months. Are they successful at least once a week, right? Assuming a couple weeks vacation. Just because you need to know that they have that many miles under their belt and that they're not, you're not their test flight. You can't afford that because you'll be missing out on equity. Now, as far as the workshops are concerned, here's the number so you could get your free tickets. It's the place where you learn how to sell your home for upwards of plus or minus $62,000 more than using the methods of traditional agents. If you haven't sold a home in the last 5 years, the entire world, the technology, the systems, the way you connect with the buyers and identify the entire marketplace has completely changed. Can you imagine what you don't know if you haven't sold a home in 5 years, in 7 years, in 10 years? So we have the home selling workshops, which are always in high demand.
But don't forget your famous question at these home selling seminars too. Is if you've never been a home seller.
That's right. If you've never been a home seller, then good for you. You get to avoid. You never have to make the same mistakes that everybody else is making. You come to the workshops and you learn the right strategy. Now, they're purely educational, which means you just take the information with you and you do with it as you please, implement it when you want, how you want, and with who you want. It's yours to take. It's our service to the market. The number's 800-676-2420. That's 800-676-2420. You can also visit SanDiegoWorkshops.com. And to illustrate the fact, coming up out of the break, I'm gonna recap a conversation that I had with the potential, with actually another agent, where they say that it's all about price, and that's exactly the issue. If you want your home sale to be all about price, then the workshops aren't for you. If you want your home sale to be about generating the maximum market response through demand, and then having price pushed to its maximum possible threshold through marketing and through strategy supported by price, but not only focused on it, then the workshops are for you. Call and get your free tickets. There's only 9 of them left. Number's 800-676-2420. The workshops are this Wednesday, 3 days from now, and it's offered twice that day, once at 12:15, once at 6:30. So there's going to be a good one for you. Coming up out of the break, we're going to recap that conversation. And let me ask you a question. Do you believe that if you make or allow for your home sale to be all about price, do you believe that there's any hope you'll actually be able to hold on to price, given that you're putting all the focus there and not on all the other tremendous value your property has?
I'm going to test you on that one.
That's next. This is Real Estate Exposed with Dan Beer, Todd Pianin. So you think that a home sale is all about price?
It is, Dan. It is all about price. If I'm a seller, I'm going to sell. You're coming to my house. You come to my door, and you tell me what you can sell my house for.
Look, you're listening to Real Estate Exposed with Dan Beer, Todd Pianin, and we hear continuously through other agents that it's all about price.
So
sellers
explain to
are
me,
led to believe the same.
Yeah, well, we're told.
Okay. There's a difference between what's important to you as the seller. Yes, price is a huge goal and a major focus of what we're trying to achieve. But when you make the entire home selling process about price in the eyes of the buyer, meaning you're moving their focus to price,
right?
Guess what they attack?
Price.
They attack price. So some agents, many. I mean, you'll hear people standing on stage at different conferences around the country, and they'll literally say, "Hey, guys, come on, we know it's all about price." And I say, no. I get sick when I hear that. And that's one of the reasons we have the San Diego home selling workshops, because we have to educate people to understand that it's only about price in the absence of other value.
Oh, hold on, Dan. Casey just texted me. She said we only have 7 tickets left now for the workshop. You better tell people how to call.
The workshop has 7 tickets remaining. The number's 800-676-2420. And we're going to come back to that. But think about what I just said. It is your home sale, in the eyes of the buyer, is only about price in the absence of other value. And of course, if you make it about price, that's what they're going to attack. In the absence of value is the key word. Okay, so this translates to so much in life.
What's value? What do you mean by value?
So if you're going to buy a watch, and you're not interested in a watch that will last, that will hold up, you're just not interested in you're not interested in quality or in result or in worth. You're just simply price focused. Well, you can buy a watch at Walmart, maybe for, let's call it $12. It will tell you the time.
Right.
And it'll last not very long. You'll end up buying a new one soon. That might be okay with you. That watch doesn't have value. So therefore, the way they sell that watch isn't through anything more than simply price. They don't sell that watch through the prestige you're going to feel by having the watch, by wearing the watch.
Showing it off.
They don't sell it by how long it's going to last, by how new it is, by how in demand it is, by how it's a one of a kind, it's a limited edition, much like your home. Your home, your condo, is there any other one exactly like it? And even if you're in a tract community, is there any other one exactly like it? Is there one on your lot? Is there one with your exact view? Is there one with your exact finishes? Your home is unique. And Rolex, as an example, sells you a watch, a timepiece,
right,
that you put on your wrist just the same way as the Walmart watch. It also tells you the time. However, people will pay $20,000 for that watch or more, depending on the edition. Why? Because Rolex doesn't come to market focused on price. price isn't even part of the conversation. The conversation is focused on how few have ever been made, the quality of them, how you're going to feel, how it's, what's really important to you and your family. Right? They drive at emotion. And it's driving at that emotion and driving at scarcity, where there aren't Rolexes out in the street on everybody's wrist. Right. You're special, right? So that's the watch world. The home world is a different conversation. There's a different way to drive value. It's what we teach at the home selling workshops is how to do that for a home.
Right.
I'm just illustrating the fact that when I hear that a home or that home selling is simply about price, I get sad. I get genuinely sad because that is the person that's going to leave money in the buyer's pocket because they are focusing the buyer on price, meaning the buyer is going to attack price and become price obsessed versus focusing in on the value and on the demand. On the housing, in real estate, the way you drive price is by taking attention away from price into how unique and limited that property is, and you shine light on the fact that there are several other buyers that also want that unique property, and now you must turn your focus on one another and compete and push price to the most and to the highest place it will possibly go. That is home selling. That is what's worth paying an agent for. If you're simply let's stick it on MLS and let's put some pictures up there and it's all about price, then my God, you are cutting yourself so darn short. And we know you have your agent. We know you have your friend, your grandma, your uncle, whoever it might be, your barber who also sells homes. That's why we do the home selling workshop. At least come get the process that you can try to implement a better plan when you want, with who you want, how you want. It's purely educational. I'm going to give you a number. I'm going to give you a website. I'm also going to give you some of the biggest benefits that you'll get from the workshop. Does that sound right, Todd?
That sounds good.
The number's 800-676-2420. They're checking here. There are still 7. There are 7 tickets left to this Wednesday's San Diego Home Selling Workshop that literally lays out the step-by-step process that led to our team being recognized by the Wall Street Journal after we've implemented it as being among the top teams in the nation across all brands. And that led to 188 home sales last year.
Did it just lead to an award that you just got last week?
The highest producing Keller Williams team in the entire Southern California region. And the reason why
he hates talking about it. He hates talking about himself.
It's because it's not about that. I mentioned that just to validate the fact that what you're going to learn works, that your 90 minutes of invested time to finally, after all these years, hear something different is entirely worth the investment of time because the tickets are free.
Well, you're also we're investing our time, and our time is valuable.
But it is as much as anything else, it's a public service to give you the blueprint, give you the plan, and let you take it with you. Here's the number. It's 800-676-2420. 800-676-2420. You can also go to San Diego Workshops.com. San Diego Workshops.com. And if you're trying to figure out what home improvements you should be or shouldn't be doing, which ones specifically to avoid so you don't lose your shirt when trying to just sell your home for the most amount of money, what staging really means, how you should approach it, and why it's important.
Virtual shelf space.
The concepts of virtual shelf space, right? Proper pricing strategy
right.
to support the greater process in the plan. The San Diego Home Selling Workshops give you every last tool you need. The number's 800-676-2420.
Plus, you get to meet Dan and I, and I'll talk to you about financial, what's happening in the world, and all that kind of stuff. So we look forward to seeing you there. Tickets are flying off the shelves, so don't forget to call us again, 800-676-2420.
Coming up next, you're going to hear a conversation we had with a distressed home seller. It's something you're going to find really interesting and maybe will resonate with your experience. Oh, my.
Mikey loves giving you good music, Dan.
We're back with you. It's Real Estate Exposed. Dan Beer, Todd Pianin, and we are talking real estate. How do you make more money? How do you take advantage of the market? What are the real strategies that work? Which ones are the ones that don't? We're exposing the truth on the way this industry at times works and falls short for you. Sometimes some of it, honestly, Todd, starts with the fact that the barrier to entry is so awfully low.
For a realtor.
For a realtor.
Right. Not for a mortgage.
For a realtor.
Right.
Mortgage guys, you guys actually work.
We actually have to have stuff. Yes.
Yeah. The bar is set so unbelievably low for a real estate agent to get licensed.
Well,
and it's
you illustrate that in our home selling seminars, which I think
it's a tragedy though.
Yeah.
It's a tragedy because it's billions of dollars, literally trillions, across the country that are entrusted to our care.
Right.
And there's no difference between an agent that's, from a licensing standpoint, an agent that has zero experience, is doing it part-time, really is focused on other things, but legitimately does have the exact same license to do business and to handle your equity as somebody that's done $250 million of business just in the last 24 months.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So you just got back from a trip, that you went on a couple weeks ago with a whole bunch of other realtors. I mean, and obviously because of your numbers, I'm sure a lot of people want to come up to you and talk to you and ask you how you do it. But when you talk to those agents that do the hobbyists or the is it hard for you to have discussions with them, or do you try to push them to become better at what they do or how they do it? Or are you, or is it, are you just you're doing things wrong?
No, well, so first off, at that event, you have people that are trying to get better, and you have people that are more serious about their business. That's why they're at the event.
Right.
So at that event, it's not that I'm talking to the hobbyist, right? If you don't understand what we mean by that, that's our nickname for people who dabble in real estate versus actually work in it. Those guys aren't at the event. Now, at the event, you're right. People will approach me and ask me, how do you do this? How do you do that? How would you handle this situation, et cetera? And how do you operate your business as a business?
Well, you've always done that, though. That's the thing. Even when you was just you, you and a couple of buyers agents back. I remember 10 years ago, you always operated your business as a business. It's in your makeup.
In talking to those folks, the conversation it can be different. Here's what strikes me: is there's some very good people out there that are available to help you sell your home.
Right.
What happens is that the public has, again, because the National Association of Realtors wants the biggest membership possible.
They're like the fake news?
No, look, I belong to the association. I want to give it some degree of respect, but they do want the biggest membership possible.
Right.
And the barrier to entry is very, very low.
Right.
And so what happens is you have people that get into the business with very little intention. They then start doing fairly well, so they actually do develop into good agents.
Right.
But the public grossly underestimates how much manpower is required to truly drive what we call a full market response. For the entire market of buyers that's available for a home or a property like yours to be aware that you're going for sale, and then to get those people to compete with one another takes an actual operation. And it's funny because some agents will say oh, well, they have a lot of people there. Well, yeah, of course we do. If I ever walk into a doctor's office and there's one guy who checks me in and then goes and takes my measurements and then tries to fix my broken bone, I'm running the heck out. Of course there are people there. There are specialists in every role. This is a concept that is accepted throughout all industry, but that because there's such a massive amount of agents that really are just kind of practicing real estate versus operating as an efficient, well-instrumented, tooled, systematized business, the public has come to accept that real estate is just simply a guy that runs around and
mediocrity
writes up a contract.
Right.
Anyhow, I digress.
You did. You went off subject.
I digress. I get a little crazy around that subject,
and
I have a little bit of a headache today, so I'm having trouble formulating.
I get it.
Completely coherent thoughts.
But you'll form completely coherent thoughts on Wednesday when we do our home selling seminar, because you are on point every time. And
every time. The reviews have been unbelievable.
Unbelievable. This year I have to say that you've stepped it up huge. But I want to get first off. Let me tell you to get tickets real quick. You can go to SanDiegoWorkshops.com and get tickets because they're going fast, or you can call right now 800-676-2420 and get tickets. Again, I highly recommend it. I haven't heard back from Casey in the office, but I know that they're going fast. We were down to 7 last time I checked. But let's get back to the point. Here's my question, Dan. So when you go to these events and you have agents that walk up to you that have the same amount of training that you had when you first got into the business, is it hard for you to have conversations with them if they're only selling 1 to 4 homes a year, because they just think how hard you work, what you do, how you do it is so completely different than everybody else?
I see where you're going with that, and the question's logical. But the answer is no, because I was there.
Right.
I experienced it. I went through the same struggles. I broke through them, and I appreciate them. I actually have a huge passion around that very struggle and getting the agent to be better. So I actually enjoy that conversation. It's one of the primary reasons that the home selling workshops exist. While they're not there for agent education, it's simply a space issue. Okay? Right. Agents are not welcome there because it's a space issue. They're always in demand. We're out of tickets virtually here. There was 7 left as of the second segment today, and we haven't heard back on any, where we stand at the moment. But we know that people who attend the workshops, some have the agent that they've worked with in the past.
Right.
We know that the information ends up across the market. And that education and being able to proliferate that throughout the marketplace, throughout the county, is one of the biggest passions I have. I love to see people improve their lives. And for that very reason, if you're anything like me, you are highly uncomfortable with your life in the hands of amateurs. You demand more. That's what the home selling workshops are about. Look, if you haven't sold your home in the last 5 years, everything's different. Now, even if you sold a home last week, you still have never seen or experienced this process of generating a full market response and then watching the frenzy of buyers fight over the home in an orchestrated and premeditated manner. So you have to be there. But if you haven't sold a home in 5 years and 7 years, forget about it. You don't know what the world looks like. You don't know what you don't know, and you're going to leave money in the buyer's pocket unless you get educated. Education, a lifelong education, is what I've committed myself to. It's one of my wife and I, companies have core values. Right. My wife and I, we have core values for our family. And lifelong learning is at the center of them. Get your free tickets to the home selling workshops. Let me remind you, it's this Wednesday, and they're offered at 12:15 and at 6:30. So it's 90-minute commitment to educate yourself on how to most effectively generate the greatest demand for your home, how to avoid the home improvements you should not be doing, and only putting money into those that will generate more money for your sale. how to approach the buyer by understanding their psychology and then using it against them to generate a response. How do you craft an intentional and empowered home sale? If you're selling your home in 2017, this is the event. It is this Wednesday at 12:15 during lunch hours or at 6:30 after work. So there's going to be one good for you. The number's 800-676-2420. 800-676-2420. You can also go to SanDiegoWorkshops.com. That's SanDiegoWorkshops.com. Up next, we're going to finally recap that story of the distressed seller. You're going to be highly fascinated by what you hear. This is Real Estate Exposed with Daniel Beer and Todd Pianin. We are your friends in this entire home selling journey. So stay with us. You're back listening to Dan Beer of the Beer Home Team, Keller Williams Real Estate, the #1 producing team by both sides, meaning homes sold, and volume, meaning total value of all home sales over the course of the year for Keller Williams Realty in the entire county of San Diego, and Todd Pianin, Home Street Bank, the lender that we love entrusting our friends and family to, simply based on the fact that the deal gets done.
And we give good rates.
Well, of course.
And we
Otherwise,
do good
it wouldn't
service.
be. The deal gets done. But let me jump in on what my favorite part is. My favorite thing about you is that sometimes so much pain that borrowers will experience is they get strung along and documented to death. And then the loan doesn't even happen.
Right.
What I love about you guys is that you're able to have a conversation with them, look at information, and quickly say, yes, I can do it. And every time you say that, you do it. Or you say, I'm sorry, it can't be done for this reason. That person, by the way, that doesn't believe you and goes off and tries it elsewhere is the person that consistently never closes. And so I love the fact that you get a straight answer when you talk to Todd Pianin. And Todd, co-host here on Real Estate Exposed. It is segment number 4.
It is our last segment. I want to hear about this distressed homeowner conversation we keep talking about. Oh, wait, hold on. Casey just texted me. Only 4 tickets left.
Casey, 4 tickets left. That's the workshops. And look, we've already talked it to death. If you haven't already signed up for the workshop, you're okay leaving equity on the table and money in the buyer's pocket. That is all good and fine by me. Speaking of money, speaking of the buyer, are you aware, Todd, that most buyers are surprised by their closing costs?
Yes.
On the residential side.
Yes.
Meaning that agents don't actually explain to their buyers that there above the down payment, there are actual closing costs.
Oh, I would say 90% of all buyers agents do never discuss closing costs.
So what do you do? Because we're not the only agency. You work with tons of agents.
Right, correct.
What do you do to protect against that? I mean, do you actually bring it up yourself?
I bring it up from the start.
So you're going to bring up not just
because I want to protect my buyers agents. You know, I don't want them to look bad, like and have missed something. So when we're pre-qualifying the buyers for our buyers agents, we bring up closing costs right away. I mean, we tell them if they're going to pay points or they're not going to pay points, we bring it up and we say, be prepared. Besides your down payment, as a rule of thumb, plan on about 1 to 1.5% of the purchase price to cover your closing costs. They go, oh, my agent never told me that. I go, that's why I'm telling you that now. And then we go through what those costs look like. But yes, we do that all the time.
The reason behind that, I have to think, is just simply based on the fact that the average agent in the county sells just under 4 homes a year. And so when they feel like a home sale is near, they worry that by exposing something like closing costs, they're going to scare away their buyer.
Correct.
But the reality is they have to know, because one of two things just happened. If you don't tell them they might still be able to close if they have enough cash.
Right.
But they are unhappy people.
They may not be prepared, and you're
literally affecting somebody financially. Like they might not be able to buy
I don't
kids
just
a birthday gift.
I don't just do this, Dan, because I want to do this and have that conversation because it's an uncomfortable conversation to have with anybody. I do this out of experience, right? Where I've had clients who've been surprised, about closing costs. No one told me about closing costs. So now it's just part of our initial discussions with them because we just don't want to have that to happen anymore.
So ask your agent, what are the closing costs? If you're looking for a lender, reach out to Todd Pianin right here, 800-676-2420. You might already have a lender, and you simply want a second opinion. In fact, let's just make it a rule of thumb. You don't do a loan ever without a second opinion. Todd Pianin, Home Street Bank, your co-host here every Sunday morning here on Kogo, and he wants to make himself available to you. I fully endorse it. And the number is 800-676-2420.
And one comment I want to make about that, Dan, real quick, is that you emailed a friend of yours the other day who wanted to refinance, and I had a quick conversation with her, and
yep.
I'm not. She has a great rate, so I'm not telling her to do something she shouldn't do.
You literally said, "Go be happy."
Yes.
Grab a margarita.
Yes.
And no, I will not refinance you because your rate is phenomenal.
Right, exactly.
That's why we send people your way. You're listening to Real Estate Exposed. Last chance for the home selling workshops. It's this Sunday. Excuse me. Today's Sunday.
This Wednesday.
It is this Wednesday. See, that's what happens here on live radio. It's this Wednesday at 12:15 or at 6:30. 12:15 or 6:30. Do you want to know and learn a process step by step that can be implemented to make you a lot more money on your home sale? Do you want to put the best practices in place and drive maximum equity to your bottom line? Get the tickets. It's 800-676-2420.
I'm Todd Pianin from Home Street Bank. I'm a member of the FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID number 304014.